Nation, you tuned in to Rep and Start with Jason Sibley. Wow, that was a very interesting game. I mean, so many highs, and but there's definitely some lows in that game. Let's first start off with just some positive things about that game. Let's start off with Jimmy Johnson finally getting into the Ring of Honor. Some people are saying, "Hey, you know what? Maybe the Cowboy curse is going to be lifted now that he's in the Ring of Honor." Don't know. It's been long overdue, but congratulations to Coach Johnson for finally making it in. So very happy to see that. I'm telling you, I got chills when he yelled out, "How about them Cowboys?" So it was a really good feeling and seeing some of the Cowboys legends out of the game. Really good thing to see. Another high note, CD Lamb. I told y'all, I hope you put him in your fantasy lineup this week because I told you, I said he was, if I would be shocked if he did not go over 150 yards. Hey, that was nothing to him. He finished with 221 yards. So he's already set the all-time franchise record on the amount of receptions he's gotten, and also single season record on yards. So I mean, CeeDee Lamb is having a monster year. This was a game for CeeDee Lamb. I'm glad to see that Dak incorporated him. I felt like he would sit there and get that, get that space and get those yards with this secondary. So, I mean, it lived up to it. But when I tell you that I don't think that I could have projected the score, nah. Nah, I don't think that I would have. Well, hold on, real quick, before I even go into some of the negative things. Positive. Last positive thing I also wanted to say. Well, two more. I would give credit to Dak Prescott. Finished in this game with 345 yards, two touchdowns, one interceptions. We'll go back to that, but and then Brandon Cooks made two crazy good catches. The one on the sideline, and then of course for his touchdown. So Brandon Cooks, I'm glad the Cowboys picked up Brandon Cooks because I'm telling you, he's a true. He's quiet, but he's a star. But let's dive into some other things about this game. I say the Cowboys did a great job as far as containing the run, which was one of the keys to success is contain the run. So they don't allow them to have too many splash plays. Put the pressure on Jared Goff, which they did. The thing that frustrated me about this game, there's several things that frustrated me about this game. The first thing that frustrated me about this game would be the fact that our opening drive, moving the ball well. It seemed just like Miami, moving the ball well. And all of a sudden, I believe it was the third down, and Dak, he's looking, he doesn't see anyone open. He scrambles, and in my opinion, I'm like, hey, you know what? Just fall to the ground. Clearly, there's nothing open, but he wanted to extend the play a little further. And if you watch the replay, CeeDee Lamb reaches up his hand like, hey, I'm open. And I really wish Dak would have stepped there. Of course, he's trying to throw it to his wide receiver, but at the same token, CeeDee Lamb has no idea that the corner is closing in on him. He's open in his, with no one in front of him on the side of him, but there's a corner coming up. So I wish Dak would have stepped there and realized, like, hey, maybe not this one. Maybe just go ahead and fall down. Maybe go try to get the four. It was, 4 yards that they need to get. Just get to 4 yards, get down. Hey, we can start fresh. First down to 10. Dak decides to throw the ball, and of course it gets intercepted. So I was kind of like, man, this seems like the Miami game. Drive is going well. Now all of a sudden we get into the red zone, something like that happens. So was really irritated about that. Just Dak's decision making on that play. I felt like that was not the play to make there. Sometimes you just got to sit there and either throw it out of bounds or sit there and just get the 4 yards, or at minimum get the 2 yards, 3 yards, and sit there and say, hey, we'll live to sit there and get a field goal or something, but don't try to force something that's not there. And then now of course they came back the next drive, and the Cowboys, I thought Dak was going to get a safety. He scrambled out of there, so then caught Lamb for the 92-yard touchdown. Probably one of my favorite plays of this season thus far. I mean, we're coming to the end of it, but that play has got to be on your highlight reels. That was a phenomenal play. But as far as our team, our defense kept contain them. It seemed like the runs, if they were committing to running against us, that wasn't really working too well. And I felt like, hey, but the thing that irritated me was after we made that touchdown, it seemed like we would move the ball and then we get stagnant. Move the ball, get stagnant. And I was like, I kept saying, I said, hey, this team is going to wake up. See, the problem with it is when you have a good team like the Lions, any team, any team with skilled players, you have to understand you may shut them down for the first few plays, first few drives, but when you do that, you have to go score. You have to go and start putting points on the board, field goals, touchdowns. You do not let a team sit there and punt the ball back to you, and then you do nothing with it. You sit there and get interceptions, and you do nothing with it. You cannot just keep punting it back to them because sooner or later they are going to wake up. And that's exactly what the Lions did. They woke up. And when they woke up, the run start working a little more. Probably not in the regard that we thought they would run on us, but the run, they had some plays. There was some passes down the field. You know what I mean? The more you sit there and give them opportunity, you are going to find yourself in a hole. I was irritated by that, but I said, you know what, the worst of this right now is that, hey, you know what, the Cowboys are in the lead, 7-3. Hey, unfortunately that was even the score going to halftime, but we and the problem that I have with it is I feel like Coach McCartney called a very conservative game. And be honest with you, his play calling was suspect at best. To be honest with you, and I typically have a lot of praise for what he's done with the organization, but I'm gonna tell you right now, in this game, the play calling was horrible. It was horrible. Now they kept choosing to run Pollard. Now I get it, towards the third, fourth quarter. Hey, you sit there trying to run out clock. Maybe the defense, you wearing the defenses down. Hey, when you run it on first down, and Tony Pollard's literally we getting behind the chains. So there now it's 2nd and 14, 2nd and 12. Let's get away from the runs. I understand that in some games the run sets up the play pass, or sometimes the pass sets up the run. In this game, no. You needed to sit there and say, hey, whatever works, let's keep doing it. They didn't do it. Now, Tony Pollard did break out a few solid runs towards the fourth quarter. But in my opinion, I said, let's get away from him. Like, all we're doing is sit there having to keep punting it back to him. But, of course, in my opinion, and probably like you, I felt like when we got that, Donovan Wilson got that interception around 2 minutes, I said, hey, game's over. Like, I'm still there celebrating. I'm like, all right, here we go. And then that's also when Mike McCartney did some suspect stuff. 2 minutes, they have two timeouts. You need to sit there and run now at this point. Now I'm saying, yes, now let's run the ball. Let's run the ball, run the clock, get them to use their timeouts. If you going at the worst case scenario, what you want to be left with, and this is the worst case scenario, is that you are going to have to get a field goal, but you've taken enough time off the clock. I'll live with that. But for the fact that they're calling passes, I'm like, what are we doing? What are we really doing? And we still ended up having to kick a field goal. But it was one of those things that I felt like it was poor game management, poor clock management. It was horrible. Like you cannot you are not going to get away with that kind of thinking and that kind of play calling against any quality team. Granted, we sat there, went up, and now we're up by 7 points, and it's like a minute and 40 seconds. I'm saying, wait, that's way too much time because all they have to do is go down here and get a score touchdown and then convert a 2-point conversion. That's exactly what they did. They went down the field, got their touchdown. I'm just sitting there. I'm pissed. I'm mad. I'm furious. Like, what are we doing? We should have milked this game and been up there celebrating that you beat them by 7 points. But instead, what we did was, or you know what? Even I don't even have to say 7 points. Even if you beat them by 4 points, you do not give them the ball back. We allowed them to go down. They scored a touchdown, and then now it's the 2-point conversion. I can't really say. I remember when it first happened, and Decker caught the touchdown or the 2-point conversion. I was done. I was like, I'm done with this game. I'm walking away from this. And then I start hearing that there was a flag on the play. I can't necessarily say what happened, what didn't happen. I don't know. In my opinion, it looked like he walked up to the ref, but maybe he was trying to be incognito and kind of whisper it because he didn't want the Cowboys to know that he was reporting that eligible player or receiver. I don't know what took place, but all I know is they took it off the board. And then it was time for, and then I thought that, hey, maybe we stopped him again because I thought, ooh, that's kind of weird. But hey, then all of a sudden it seemed like we got an interception. Micah Parsons lined up offsides. Or no, they caught him offsides. And then the last one, of course, they were short. They didn't catch the ball. I hate it because I feel like, yes, I always want to see the Cowboys win. I always want to see us win. But the issue with this particular game is this was a very sloppy game. This wasn't a game that you just like jump up and down over. This was, I mean, well, you celebrate any win, but it was a very sloppy game. And on top of that, all people are going to say is, oh, y'all only won because of this. You only won because of that. Sometimes I just want to be able to say, hey, we just won, just win. But it's always going to be a reason. There's always going to be excuse, or what most people say. There's always going to be like the goalpost being pushed out. This is what that kind of feels like. Regardless, we got the win, we got the victory, which we needed. And for so many remarkable things to happen in the same night, CeeDee Lamb breaking records, Jimmy Johnson being honored, we protected our home, went undefeated at home this season. I mean, you gotta commend that good stuff, but at the same token, you just gave another reason for them to say, "Hey, you only won because of this," and it just it's one of those kind of like bittersweet kind of situations. But at the end of the day, I'll take a win any kind of way, even if it is ugly, even if it's one that I'm like, eh, we skated by on that one. We skated by, but at the end of the day, Cowboys win. So hey, we'll take it. uh get ready for the new year. For everyone who's been subscribed, following me, appreciate all the love. We're gonna come back even harder in 2024, but I appreciate it. I'll see y'all. Happy New Year. We'll come back when we talk about the Commanders. Peace, y'all.